got more videos of this boy for the show today.
Nico, you don't tell me.
Let me play, Kathy.
Who do you think you're talking to?
You're the one who's making me even more mad, for sake. Leave me alone.
Nico.
Leave me the alone. I'm already pissed off enough,
Why?
Kathy. Leave me the alone.
Nico, what is going on?
I don't want to talk about it.
What is going on that's making you like
Why
this?
do you please leave me alone?
Who does she think she's talking to? This is a child, right?
Who's calling her Kathy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the tail wagging the dog here. You know, these people are living this so much that it starts to seem normal. This isn't normal.
Did you show them the text?
Yeah, they got impatient even on the plane. They missed their first flight.
Now the delay is 4:30, if it goes to 5, we're not coming. Oh, so we're in charge of the airline schedules now? Why weren't they on the first flight?
Yeah.
They were afraid to wake up their son too early.
We'd been playing video games 17 hours the day before. He was tired.
Who do they think is going to hire this child? Seriously.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to call this kid's bluff and give them a wake-up call. Don't say a word to them. I'll handle it.
Perfect.
Got it.
Today on Dr. Phil, a son's video game addiction
Leave me alone.
crosses the line.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Ow!
He gets what he wants by bullying us and terrorizing this house.
Nico has threatened to kill us.
Taking back control.
You're not going to school, so you're basically just sleeping, eating, playing video games.
Yeah, I have tried everything.
You're negotiating with your child to take a shower.
Well, I was kind of bargaining.
You're enabling the behavior. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, as you saw, I was just in my office talking to my team about this show. We've got parents who let a 14-year-old basically drop out of school so he has time to play video games 17 hours a day. Video games. Now, his mom even has to negotiate with him to take a shower. Now, mom blames dad, and dad blames the child. Take a look.
My 14-year-old son, Nico, is absolutely addicted to his video games.
Let me get the streak of 6-9. Let me get the streak. No.
He'll be on this device for 17 hours a day sometimes. I try to get Nico off video games, tell him that he's limited. He can only have 5 hours a day, and his answer is, oh, no, that's not going to happen. And it's a fight. I asked you hours ago to clean up that mess. What's going on?
Now!
Nico is the most spoiled child.
Nico!
Get out!
Stop it!
Get out!
Get off.
Right the now!
Nico can get so angry, he will destroy everything in the house, anything in his path, anything that Nico can get his hands on will get destroyed.
What is my computer? He gets what he wants by bullying us and terrorizing this house. He'll pull his hair. Stop it, Nico. He'll start screaming if he's not on his devices.
Nico, your mouth!
I take him off the internet and he immediately starts throwing things and breaking things, and it's cost us thousands of dollars replacing everything that he's broken. He'll bang his controller. If I don't give him what he wants, I'm gonna break this phone. Nico is not in school right now. He wants to be a YouTuber when he gets older, and he doesn't need school. I couldn't force Nico to get up and go. It was impossible. He's a very large child. I think Nico takes advantage of me more now because he knows that I'm disabled. I'm in a wheelchair and there's not much I can do. He'll strike out and he'll hit me. Physically, I'm no match for him. He's a big kid and I have one leg. There's not much I can do.
I feel our family is falling apart. We desperately need help to get everything back on track.
It's absolutely out of control, and I see it only getting worse.
I am about to break your nose like I did.
How did it get this way where we have a child running the house?
what do I do to stop it? I've taken things away. I've had my nose broken 3 times. I've taken him to doctors. I've tried everything.
Dad, what are you doing about this?
When he starts getting into a rage and getting violent, I go upstairs in my studio, my music room, to avoid it, because he winds up getting physical with me.
Well, Kathy says that she can't get Nico on a schedule and ends up acting like his maid. She also has a hard time getting him to do just what I call activities of daily living, things that just really are fundamental to just being a socialized human being. Take a look.
Nico begs and begs and begs to get what he wants.
Can I please just get 3.99 cents this was?
No, I shouldn't even have to bribe you to take a shower. I shouldn't have to pay you. But if you take one, I will allow you to get something, but you're taking your shower first. That way I know if it's done.
Can I get calf now?
No. Stop banging.
It will get done. God.
Nico, don't. It's very simple. Bang the phone again and I take it away from you. Take your shower.
Please. I can't!
Stop it, Nico.
Then just gonna let me.
Stop saying that, Nico.
No, I'm not gonna stop.
Stop saying that.
Whatever, Kathy.
There we go, calling me by my name. Keep it up with the disrespect, Nico, and you're going to lose everything for the day. You're not getting anything until you do what you need to do, which is take a shower. I'll think about the 3.99 cents, but I'm not waiting until 4:30.
All right.
So in the end, I allowed him to get the small things that he wanted, and he's going to take a shower in 2 hours. It's now 3:45, and you promised me at 2:30 you would take a shower?
I forgot.
Well, I'm reminding you. Take a shower, and
Mom,
then you can
I'm
get
in
back
the middle
on.
of something. I can't right now. Please.
See, this is what happens every time. My thought process on that is...
Wait a second. Do you really want to spend time defending that? Because we
No,
only
I
have
wanted
so
to
much
explain
time.
it. I just wanted to explain
There
it.
is
I'm not
no
defending
explanation.
it.
I can save you some time. There is no explanation. You're negotiating with your child to take a shower.
Well, I was kind of bargaining, I consider it.
Do you understand you're enabling the behavior?
Absolutely.
You understand you're enabling the behavior?
Yes.
What time do you get home every day?
Around 6 o'clock.
And when do you go to bed?
8, because I'm exhausted by the end of the day.
So you're engaged an hour or two.
Right.
And you have it the other 22.
More, I don't sleep. I'm an insomniac. If I
Well,
get...
do the math. I said you
Yeah,
have it the other 22.
20, yeah.
Are you oppositional as well? Do you argue with everything?
Yes, I do. I've been in the legal field for 38 years. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
And I
sorry,
can
I
win,
know.
so just don't bother.
I'm not trying to argue, Dr. Phil. I'm not. Please.
Yeah. But we have to take a break. Coming up, Evo says he's a big sucker when it comes to his son and buys back devices that he's confiscated or smashed. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Give me my back!
Get off me. I have slapped Nico in the mouth, in the face for cursing at me. I've broken 2-3 pairs of glasses.
The two of them are 2 peas in a pod.
And later, if we could unscrew the top of your head and look down inside while all that's going on, it would scare the hell out of us, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Nico has actually threatened to kill us.
This is one of my butcher knives, and not too long ago, Nico, in one of his rages, ran into the kitchen, grabbed this knife, and held it up to himself and threatened to kill himself. Thankfully, Evo was able to get the knife away from him without causing any harm to himself. Because of Nico's threats, I no longer keep the knives up there. I have to keep them in this lockbox. So I put them all inside the lockbox. This is what I do every time I need to cook something. Lock it up, and then this comes in my room with me, so I can always keep an eye on it, and he can never get to them.
Okay, Kathy and her husband Evo say their 14-year-old son Nico learned his behavior from what's going on inside their home and not from playing violent video games 17 hours a day. Take a look at what they had to say.
Get out
off.
right the now!
Nico's behavior is absolutely learned behavior.
Leave me alone!
Evo has shown him how to do this by the way he acts.
Give me my back!
Get off me.
When Evo's angry at me, he'll get very disrespectful. The two of them are two peas in a pod.
I have slapped Nico in the mouth, in the face for cursing at me.
Evo, show what a maniac you are.
I slapped him and accidentally hit the glasses and broke them. I've broken 2, 3 pairs of them. We had to go buy new ones. I'm very ashamed of it.
The same tone of voice that Nico uses, Evo has used on me.
Are you a dumbass or something?
I want to give you an analogy here. There's something in the world of psychology called the prison experiment. And it was done by Dr. Zimbardo. And in this prison study, Dr. Zimbardo just took a group of students and just randomly said, okay, you guys are going to be guards and you guys are going to be prisoners. They just went down to the basement of the psychology building and they said, okay, this is going to be the prison and these rooms are going to be the cells and you're going to run it just like a prison. And within a matter of a half a day, they had to suspend the experiment because the guards became so brutal and so abusive that it was getting out of control. And the prisoners became so immersed in the prison role, and it became a famous experiment that's never been able to be repeated in 50 years because it became so real so fast.
Wow.
They were isolated, like on an island down there, just like you guys are in your home. So, you know, I'm looking at this and I say, well, all right, let's see where this child's living. He's living in a prison experiment. You have self-esteem so low.
Don't have any.
It can't get any lower, you can't fall off the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just so down about yourself, and then you've got two men in your life that remind you of it every day. They tell you how worthless you are, how unimpactful you are, how disrespectful they can be to you.
Whoa. I never tell her she's worthless. She's not.
Uh-oh, you're in trouble now.
She's recording you! Dad, you better not hit me. She's recording you.
Okay, keep running your mouth. Go ahead.
She's recording you.
I don't
You'll
care.
get arrested.
Run your mouth.
Get out!
Leave him alone.
And later, at what point did you give yourself permission to speak to your parents in a disrespectful way? Well, there had to be some point at which you said it's okay to scream bombs at my mother or father, or tell my father, I'm going to stab you tonight. You were telling me how you don't tell her she's worthless.
I never say worthless.
Fat bitch, but not worthless.
I speak before I think. That's my
we didn't ask what the order was. You were saying, I don't demean her. I don't tell her she's worthless. But you do call her a fat bitch.
When I get mad, I don't think, and it just comes out.
Would that be a yes?
Yes.
Okay. But you want to play semantics with me that you don't tell her she's worthless. You just tell her she's a fat bitch. You're drawing a line of distinction there. Are we playing word games here, or you
No,
really
absolutely
think that's
not.
different?
Absolutely not. Like I told you, I speak before I think. Do I regret it afterwards? Absolutely. Do I mean it? Absolutely not.
It's kind of like if you back out of the driveway and run over my foot, the fact that you didn't mean it, my foot feels the same.
Right.
And then if you do it again tomorrow, my foot feels even worse. And if you do it again the next day and the next day and the next day, then two things happen. Number one, my foot's feeling really bad.
Right.
And two, I'm beginning to wonder if this is really an accident. Take a look at how Evo reacts to being taunted by Nico.
Get away from me! Get away! She's recording you. Dad, you better not hit me. She's recording you.
I don't care. Okay, keep running your mouth. Go ahead.
She's recording
I
you.
don't
You'll
care.
get arrested.
Run your mouth. Run it. Run it.
Get out! Get out. Stab you.
Leave him alone. Get out of the room.
Stab you tonight!
Get out of the room.
I want him out of this house.
No!
Call the state
Get out of
police.
the
I
room.
want him out.
Get out
Shut
of
up,
the room.
Evo!
You. I want you dead by the time I get home.
Hey, Evo, show what a maniac you are.
Oh, I'll make me
Show what a maniac you are.
Yeah. Try me after you get on camera.
I'm gonna try you.
You know what? Yeah.
Give me this. You hold on to that.
Got my other one. Dumbass. What do you do on camera? Huh?
All this is
Give
gone.
me my backpack! Give
All
me
of this is gone.
my backpack!
Get off me. Get off me.
Ow!
Get off of me.
I still got my hand!
Don't you slap anything out of my hand.
You know what? Both of you. I'm leaving. I'm so ashamed by seeing this.
I can't imagine why this kid's spinning out of control. And, you know, if we could unscrew the top of your head and look down inside while all that's going on, it would scare the hell out of us, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm one of those people that looks past anger and rage, and behind it is hurt, fear, and frustration. What I'm seeing there is a lot of pain. You're expressing it in anger, because angry people have the attitude to get them before they get me. But anger is nothing more than an outward manifestation of hurt, fear, and frustration. And I think you're experiencing all three. What are you so angry about?
I was raised, I saw a lot of violence when I was young. I've seen people getting hands crushed in vices for stealing.
Who crushed whose hand in vices?
Somebody robbed from my father. My father did it.
And how old were you?
Probably about Nico's age, 13, 14. I've seen a lot of violence, stuff I should not have seen.
It's interesting what people grow up with. And it leaves a mark, does it not?
I am physically, emotionally scarred, horribly. And seeing this is killing me.
Do you think I know what I'm doing?
Absolutely. This is an eye-opener for us, for our family.
Well, speaking of family, we're going to meet the 14-year-old teen who is controlling this house and hear what he has to say next.
I feel like I'm addicted to video games. I broke this controller by throwing it across the room because I was angry. When my dad gets angry, he tends to throw some of my stuff and hit me.
Get out. Stab you.
Leave him alone. Get out of the room.
Stab you tonight!
It hurts a lot and it bothers me.
On a new season of Dr. Phil's True Crime Podcast.
It began as a murder mystery starring an NFL superstar.
The Fall of a Hero.
Aaron Hernandez had a $40 million contract, a mansion outside Boston, and a beautiful daughter and fiance.
His secret life.
In 2013, he was arrested and accused of not one, but 3 murders.
Mystery and Murder, analysis by Dr. Phil. Episode 1, available now on Apple Podcast and Stitcher.
I have an anger problem. I lose my temper, kind of like black out. I pass out probably in the beginning. I get so enraged.
Get off of me!
Get off me. I guess my body can't handle it anymore, and then I hit the floor.
Evo.
It could range. I've been out 30 minutes for 45 minutes.
Are you okay?
I have no memory of what happens when I pass out. I don't even remember hitting the floor. Kathy has told me that when I was passed out on the floor, Nico would say to her, "Huh, he's on the floor again," without a care in the world.
Now, Kathy and her husband Evo are both perplexed about why Evo's passing out. Kathy says their teenage son Nico also doesn't remember how severely his rages are afterwards.
Yes, I feel like I'm addicted to video games. On a typical day of my life, I wake up around 9 or 10, I eat, go on my devices, talk to my friends. I stay in here playing games and stuff about 13 or 14 hours every day. I don't really exercise. I don't hang out with friends outside or anything. I don't play sports. I mainly play video games till I go to bed, and my bedtime is like 11 o'clock at night. I don't want to go to school because it's just boring.
Why? Don't raise your hand at me. Don't raise your hand to me.
Then get the
Don't throw anything at my face.
My fits of rage.
No.
They just keep like pushing me as in saying, "Get off, Nico, take a break, blah, blah, blah."
If you don't leave me alone, I swear to God.
They keep bugging me, I will blow up.
I don't want it!
I need to know.
I'm a second away from throwing this right at your face.
I broke this controller by throwing it across the room because I was angry. The main thing I get mad with my mom about is not letting me stay on my devices. My relationship with my dad, it's not too well. We fight about me not getting on my devices.
Okay, keep running your mouth. Go ahead.
He's recording
I
you.
don't
You'll
care.
get arrested.
Run your mouth.
Because sometimes he explodes and hit me on the head and stuff. When my dad gets angry, he tends to throw some of my stuff and hit me.
Get out. Stab you.
Leave him alone. Get out of the room.
Stab you tonight!
It hurts a lot and it bothers me. He hits me on my face. Sometimes he breaks my glasses because he slaps them off my head.
You.
I'd start hitting back.
Give me my
Get off of me. Get off me.
I plan to get a job when I'm older. I don't know what I would do, to be honest. I'm excited to meet Dr. Phil. I would ask him how I can change my anger.
What do you think makes you as angry as you get?
I honestly don't know.
When you're screaming at her and yelling at moms and threatening to smash her in the face with your controller, how do you feel afterwards?
Feel really bad about it.
This is Nico's gaming anger. Let's take a look at this.
Nico, you don't tell me.
Let me play, Kathy.
Who do you think you're talking to?
You're the one who's making me even more mad for sake. Leave me alone.
Nico.
Leave me the alone. I'm already pissed off enough,
Why?
Kathy. Leave me the alone.
Nico, what is going on?
I don't want to talk about it.
What is going on that's making you like this?
Right in your face. Leave me alone.
At what point did you give yourself permission to speak to your parents in a disrespectful way?
I don't even remember.
Well, there had to be some point at which
Yeah.
you said it's okay to scream bombs at my mother or father, or tell my father, I'm going to stab you tonight.
I don't even remember how long it was that I started that.
Mm-hmm. How you doing in school?
Somewhat good.
He's supposed to have in-home instruction, which a teacher comes to the house 3 hours a day for 3 days a week, and that has become too much for him to do.
You've sent her away because he was asleep instead of waking him up.
No, we tried to wake him up. I get hit if I go near him and try to wake him up.
You've written into me 5 times.
Yes.
And when I read the letters, you said, we are desperate. But then when we answered and said, okay, I agree, it's desperate, so we're going to come here, you missed your first flight because you didn't want to wake him up.
No, we missed our first flight because I was going through security and they didn't have a female officer to come and pat me down because I can't walk through the metal detectors.
Well, I'll talk to our driver because our driver said you wanted to leave a half an hour later because you didn't want to wake up Nico.
No, I never
Because you're
said
afraid you were going to get hit, I guess. And then I got a text message shown to me from the tarmac saying you've been sitting there and it's 4:30, and if it goes another half hour, that you're just not coming.
We were just tired, we were frustrated.
When I found that out, I was like, turn them around. Hell, send them home. If they don't want to be here, they don't want to be here. I don't run the airlines.
No, I know that, but...
But what?
We got up at 3:30 that morning. We didn't get the first flight because what I explained. Then we sat around for 4 hours on standby. When we got to standby, they said, sorry, there are no seats. You got to wait another 4 hours.
There were seats, by the way. They just weren't together.
Yes, I couldn't leave Nico alone.
Can't leave him alone.
He could not sit alone. You see his behavior. He would have hit someone.
You can't ride on an airliner by yourself?
I told them I could, but they didn't believe me.
I know he couldn't.
We're just overprotective with him because, God forbid, he starts up on a plane and then you get one of the marshals that are on that plane and arresting him, the both of us are going because I'm going to stand up for my son. You don't touch my son. This is how I am, Dr. Phil. This is how...
Well, you choose a behavior, you choose the consequences. Coming up, Kathy says Nico has charged over $4,000 on her credit card for gaming tokens and faces zero consequences. I'm wondering why. We'll talk about that when we come back. I'm from Texas, and there's a checkout time of 18. How are you going to get by when you're out there and you don't have any skill set? You don't have a high school diploma?
I fight with this in my head every day, worrying about him later on in life. It kills me.
I don't want it!
When Nico gets really angry at me, instead of him calling me mom, he'll say, all right, Kathy, enough, Kathy.
Let me play, Kathy!
Because he's trying to exert his power over me, like calling me by my first name. What's going on?
I swear to
He seems to think that he's going to get what he wants by bullying me that way. I think it's very disrespectful.
I swear to God, Kathy.
What would have to happen for there to be peace in your house, from your standpoint?
I don't know, just probably just letting me play my video games whenever I want.
So you wouldn't be expected to do any chores, you wouldn't be expected to go to school and get an education. You just want to be rolled up in a blanket playing a video game.
No, not just playing, but I would do school and stuff.
Well, you're not doing that.
Thank you.
You're not doing that though, right?
Well, not often, but
So why would you start doing it all of a sudden?
I don't know.
So at this point, you're not going to school, so you're basically just playing your video games, sleeping, eating, playing video games, sleeping, eating, playing video games. Okay, so I'm from Texas, and there's a checkout time of 18. You know, when you turn 18, you just check out, on your own. How are you going to get by when you're out there and you don't have any skill set?
I don't know.
You don't have a high school diploma. You don't have any particular skills. How are you going to pay your bills and live?
I don't know.
Do you think you might want to think about that?
Yeah.
Dr. Phil, I fight with this in my head every day, worrying about him later on in life. It kills me. Because right now, the way he's going, he's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. Because y'all have a parental duty. I mean, you have a parental duty, and your parental duty is very clear. It's to prepare a child for the next level of life and to live independently. That's what parents' job is. And And so if the next level of life is to live independently, which means they've got to make enough money to pay rent and utilities and food and all, and you're not doing that, then you're failing your duty as a parent.
I know that.
And it doesn't mean they have to like it. It just means that they have to do it. And you've got a terrible momentum going on here. I tell you what, we're going to have some adult conversation after the break here. So I'm going to let Nico, I'm sure it'll break his heart, but we're going to let him go back where he was. Coming up, Kathy says she's a great parent because her older son is a model child. We're going to hear from him next and see what he thinks is going on with Nico as well. We'll be right back.
This is Nico's container of medicines that he's currently taking. He's got hydroxyzine, clonidine, Latuda, guanfacine, trazodone, and he takes melatonin as well to help him sleep at night, which doesn't work. And we have yet to find one or any combination that actually works.
I love you.
Well, Evo says his son Nico is treated like a guinea pig by doctors. Kathy says she hasn't been happy with any of the treatment her son has received locally. At this point, based on where he is, nothing that you've done, no combination of things that y'all have done have worked, right?
Right.
Because he's worse now than he was this time last year, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he's getting bigger. He's getting stronger. I'm getting older. I'm getting weaker, frailer. I can't tussle with this boy anymore.
Well, Kathy's older son, Tyler, says both his mom and stepfather, Evo, contribute to the dysfunction in this home, and he's joining us now via Polycom. So, Tyler, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You've been listening to everything we've been talking about, right?
Yep.
So, I've said that I feel like they need to kind of hit the reset button on everything, forget what they think they know, forget what they think is causation, and be willing to consider a whole new set of circumstances here. But I'm curious what you think, and I'm not asking you to be a professional here, I'm just asking you based on your experience and having been around, what you think is going on here.
I think that there's just a lack of respect throughout the house entirely. Nobody really seems to have any sort of respect for each other.
So this is just dysfunction, wall to wall, 7 days a week, and this child's just in a quagmire of dysfunction. True?
True.
How do you get along with Nico?
We don't have the greatest relationship. Whenever I come to visit, we talk a bit. I don't really talk to him too often, like on the phone or anything, but I try to reach out to him when I can.
Mm-hmm. If this continues the way it is, with Evo's rage and anger and Nico's disrespect for both of them, and Kathy's really being beat down in the way that she is, where do you think this is headed?
I think that Nico's going to wind up having to be in some sort of home, I think. I don't think that they'll be able to keep taking care of him the way that things are going.
Yeah, well, I'm one of those that believes when you get into something that is this dysfunctional from this many angles, you have to do what I call shake it up to break it up. And that means you can't just go in and kind of cherry pick. You pull him out, he's the squeaky wheel. Right. But we can take him out and do A, B, C, and D, and then put him right back in the situation. It won't be 72 hours before all the triggers that were there start getting pulled again, and you're right back in the same situation that you are now. Right. But I do have a plan, and the plan is multi-sided and multi-layered. And I think you are going to be shocked at what I think needs to happen here. We'll be right back. Want to know what's coming up on Dr. Phil? Visit our website and subscribe to our email newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, life strategies, and Exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else.
Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today.
This home is so dysfunctional at this point that this problem is over y'all's pay grade. I don't think all the best intentions in the world, I don't think either one of you or the two of you collectively can solve this problem on your own. I've asked a very good friend of mine that I have great respect for to be here in the audience today, and that's Shane Gallagher. Shane is the executive director of Wingate Wilderness Therapy. Shane, you guys can help him, true?
Oh, absolutely. You could say that Nico needs a device detox. So he will absolutely be detoxed, not just from, he won't have access to electronics, but the mind patterns are going to be changed because he's going to be in a natural environment. So circadian rhythms, all of these things that a growing boy actually needs, he's just going to get in a very natural way.
Look, this is up to you. And if you've got questions, then you can ask them. But my plan is this. He goes there from here today. I don't have a bit of problem telling him this, but he needs to hear you two, shoulder to shoulder, make a responsible parenting decision and tell him, we've made a decision as your parents, and this is where you're going. That's the first thing that needs to happen. Second thing that needs to happen with you, I highly recommend that you allow yourself to go to a trauma-based center called Onsite, just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Now, Onsite is the worldwide leader in intensive workshops and treatment specializing in those that have been through emotional trauma. And I think it'll be the greatest gift you ever give yourself in your entire life. And because if we do this with Nico and we don't do what we need to do with the two of you, there's no point in doing anything with him. We have to change this family across the board. Okay? Do we have a plan?
Yes.
Okay. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Shane Gallagher from Wingate Wilderness Therapy. A special thanks to Miles Adcox and Onsite for offering their help. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. One of my Facebook followers had a very relevant question to me. Tammy asked if an 8-year-old should have a cell phone. You can see from today's show, adding devices to young lives is not always the best idea. But there's a point at which you have to balance out safety versus them getting over-involved. At some point, it gives you the ability for them to reach out to you at any time and for you to reach them at any time. 8, little too early. Stay social, keep asking me questions on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You never know, I just might answer yours next. We'll see you next time.
We've been doing this for 2 years. When he gets either enraged or stressed, he goes unconscious. Can you hear me, Evo? Can you talk? Evo? Dr. Phil has given us an amazing gift we could never hope to achieve. You're going to be going to this facility where you're going to have an amazing time. You just don't know it yet. You're going to be out in nature.
Wait, so I'm going away?
You're going to go with these people to this facility. You're going to get off your devices and stop relying on them and start enjoying life again. I love you, baby. Oh, come closer. I love you so much. You know that, right? And I'm going to talk to you soon.
Are we going now?
Yeah. I love you, buddy. Don't ever forget that.
Bye, buddy.
Today, Dr. Phil Goes Hollywood.
We proudly welcome to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Dr. Phil McGraw.
With Kathy Bates, Ronnie Dunn,
Congratulations, young man.
Cheryl Underwood, David Foster, and Tyler Perry.
It is my hope that everybody understands the impact that this man has had on all of us. God bless you.
I really believe no one deserves this more than he does.
Plus,
I am my mother's sole caretaker.
Cheyenne cooks, cleans, does her laundry.
But is Mom,
here she is, and you're waiting on her,
as sick as she says she is?
Let's just get to the point. You're getting conned. Well, it has been an exciting and busy weekend for me. After 18 seasons, 3,100 shows, almost 20,000 guests, I was honored this past Friday with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It was a surreal moment for this old Texas boy seeing my name along this legendary Hollywood landmark. And just like the first day when I started this show, my friends and family were right by my side. Take a look.
Do we have any Dr. Phil fans today in the house? We're very excited to have you all here today to honor Dr. Phil.
I love Dr. Phil because he's so real and he tells it like it is.
Love watching Dr. Phil.
What's up, man? Congratulations.
We are honoring Dr. Phil McGraw with a 2,688 star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
In 2008, I had the privilege of receiving our Brooks & Dunn star. The night before the ceremony, Billy Gibbons says, how about we do a few celebratory shots of tequila? The next thing I know, the guest surprise presenter was Dr. Phil with his lovely wife, Robin. And we're standing there, and I kept feeling Robin doing this. You smell like hell, you smell like tequila. So I got my free counseling lesson from Dr. Phil. That'll sober you up, by the way. I'm proud to say that I'm a friend of Phil McGraw's. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for Walk of Famer and film star Kathy Bates, Cheryl Underwood, Dr. Davis Stewart, and Dr. Drew Orland.
When I think about a star, I think about positive light, something that is a compass to help people find their way. And that is what Dr. Phil has been to so many of us. He has taken this incredible gift of psychology and used it to help so many of us along the way. It is my hope that everybody understands the impact that this man has had on all of us. So I just want to thank you, Dr. Phil, for your wisdom from the bottom of my heart. I'm so excited that you will be immortalized here forever, so people will look down and remember what you have done for all of us. So God bless you, sir. Thank you. From my heart, thank you.
I'm proud to now declare today Dr. Phil McGraw Day in Hollywood.
Well, thank you so much, and I echo all of the gratitude and thanks to the Chamber and the Walk of Fame. Look, today is a really special day for me. I've never known anybody that was a true success that was a solo. And I look at that star, and it's got 5 points to it, and I really think about wanting to break those points off and share them with everybody that's been so critical to my success. And the first one I would break off, I would give to my wife, Robin. We've done over 3,100 shows, and she's been there for every single one of them. And she is not just an observer. She is such a vital part of that show. People ask me all the time, Dr. Phil, who do you go to? Who do you go to for counsel? Well, that's who I go to for counsel. She's always got my back. I would break off the second point, and I would give it to Miss Oprah. No doubt about it. That's just another woman in my life that's been launching and mentoring me. She and a very dear friend of mine, Greg Midell. Stand up, Greg. Greg and I have been working together for now, I guess, 19 years. And I have to tell you, every time I talk to him about business, I learn something every day. So, Greg, thank you so much. And I'd break the third star off, and I would give it to Carla Pennington and the entire staff at the Dr. Phil Show, which she leads as the executive producer, the only one I've ever had. The fourth point I would break off and give to CBS and Paramount and King World. The fifth point I would hang on to, because I'm proud to say my job's not for everybody. If you have a need to be loved by strangers, you don't want to do my job. I have two sons, Jay and Jordan. Jordan is not here today, I'm sorry to say. He's in Paris. He's on tour opening for the Jonas Brothers, so I say hey. Jay tells me sometimes, Dad, wow, it's truly like we wake up in a movie every day. And I say, don't miss it. Star in your own life and drink it in. Success is a succession of moments. And believe you me, this is one of those moments today. and I am taking my own advice, and I am drinking it in. And God bless all of you for honoring me and taking the time out of your lives to be here. This really means a lot to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We proudly welcome to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Dr. Phil McGraw.
Oh, wow. Thank you, thank you.
All these years later, what do you tell this guy now that you're a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
I believe a lot in remembering where you came from and who you were and what your roots are. And I look back at these civilians that never knew anything about Hollywood, and to have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame is just surreal. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Surfer guy's got a star.
Yeah, I mean, surfer, 18-inch waves, all the way.
I've actually been a part of the Dr. Phil show from the very, very beginning. When Phil and I first spoke about the star on the Walk of Fame, I said, "Are you kidding me that you don't have a star on the Walk of Fame? I can't believe that." But in any event, we were, Joe and I, Anello, all of us at CBS, very happy to be your sponsor. Congratulations.
Now, a message from David Foster.
Philip, as Robin loves to call you, I heartily congratulate you on this well-deserved honor. May your great-great-grandchildren walk all over you as they visit Hollywood and be reminded of what a great man you are. And Hollywood Walk of Fame, thank you for honoring my friend, Dr. Philip McGraw.
Today was a celebration, but knowing that that star is going to be there forever is so exciting. And I think my kids being there, his grandkids being there, is a great symbol of how this is going to last for generations to come.
That star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, well deserved.
I was very, very proud that Phil finally got his star on the Walk of Fame after 18 seasons. Then when he actually put me next to Robin and Oprah to get a point on a star, I got a star-ish on the Walk of Fame. And I cannot be more honored and proud to be a part of this phenomenal legacy that is the Dr. Phil Show.
I mean, this isn't the end of anything, but it's nice that he's getting recognized at this point in his career. I'm glad that I've been there since day one.
Today, when I sat there and got to watch him receive that star and what it means, I realized that this is a day I have been waiting for. I may cry now, but I really believe no one deserves this more than he does. And it was worth the wait.
On to today's topic. 24-year-old Cheyenne has an epic to-do list. Her boyfriend Blake calls her Cinderella. Look at this list. Cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner, shampoo carpets, clean kitchen, bathroom, call and arrange doctor's appointments, drive to and from, feed cats, clean litter box, chase after cats if escape, pays for rent, cell phone, cable. Well, the list just goes on. Cheyenne says she is doing all of this for her 56-year-old mother, who doesn't work, pay any bills, sits around in a dark apartment all day, and uses Cheyenne's bank card to shop. Now, in 5 months, Cheyenne graduates, and her boyfriend Blake wants to whisk her away. But he says he cannot while Cheyenne's mom acts like a drama queen and a moocher. Take a look.
Thank you, sweetheart. Oh. I am my mother's sole caretaker. This is the apartment that my mom and I live in. She goes to bed around 4 or 5 in the morning. Mommy? Yeah. It's a little past 11. It's time to get up. I will get her milk and her pills and bring them to her. Thank you, baby doll.
Cindy carries a negative energy. She definitely is mooching off of Cheyenne.
I have asked her if she sees us living together for the rest of her life. She said yeah. I asked her why. She said because I'm the oldest. I pay for the apartment, all of the bills, including the television that she watches.
Cheyenne cooks, cleans, takes the dogs to the vet, changes her sheets, does her laundry. And Cindy does nothing.
I feel exhausted all the time.
Cindy would be living in a pigsty if Cheyenne wasn't there to clean up after her.
We still have Christmas up because I haven't had time to really take it down yet. My mom claims she has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is something that affects the joints, but she hasn't received an official diagnosis. My mom has never worked. I believe my mom is capable of having a job and that she just relies a little too much on her illnesses. The situation does anger me. Taking care of my mom is a big burden on me. She emotionally manipulates me. Thank you. If I ever try to confront my mother, she gives me an enormous guilt trip. She tells me I am such a horrible mother, I'm such a big burden. Maybe I should just kill myself. In 6 months, I'm moving out.
Cheyenne and I are planning on living together.
She needs to find a place to live, and she needs to know that.
If I have anything to say about it, her mother will not be living there.
I feel like she does plan on staying with me even after giving her an ultimatum. I am afraid that I won't ever get rid of her.
Okay, so you two are very much in love.
Yes, we are.
And you would like to marry her.
Absolutely.
And you intend to marry her.
Definitely.
But you don't want to marry her with her mother hooked on to her, bleeding her dry, mentally, emotionally, financially, energy, every kind of way.
All of the above.
What's wrong with your mother?
My mom is pretty depressed, has a lot of anxiety and fears. She has some physical problems that make it difficult for her to walk.
And what are they?
We do know that she has severe arthritis in her knees. She's just gotten a kind of diagnosis from a doctor. The doctor kind of thinks that she has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but she hasn't had an actual official diagnosis of it yet.
How do you kind of get diagnosed with something?
I believe it was a nurse practitioner, and she said, oh, you have this. And so since then, my mom has been looking it up, and she feels like it
So
fits her
Dr.
pretty
Google
well.
gave it to her.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Here are her actual quotes about this. A nurse practitioner mentioned EDS and started my online research. Quote, I haven't been diagnosed officially. I don't even know if they have a doctor who specializes in that. It's supposed to be genetic, but I don't know anyone in my family who has it. I think this could be the real thing, but I haven't been officially tested. That's a long way from having a disease that is debilitating to the point that you are 100% dependent on someone else and bleeding them dry. She uses your credit cards?
Yes, she does.
And debit cards?
Yes.
To buy what? She doesn't go anywhere.
She uses them to buy things like makeup, candles.
She buys it off these TV channels, right?
Yes.
Is she banned from QVC?
Yes, she is banned from QVC.
How do you get banned from spending money?
She had several different accounts where she used my aunt's name and her card, my mom's name and my aunt's card, and then my name and my card, her name and my card. And eventually they put them all together and said, you have outstanding amounts in all of these, and we realized they're all going to the same address. So you are not allowed to buy from us again until you pay back all your debts.
Let's just get to the point here, okay? You're getting conned.
Yeah.
You're getting conned. How am I doing?
You're doing great. I agree with everything you're saying.
Your solution to this is to get a secret card.
Yes.
That your mother doesn't know about.
Yeah.
Now, how does that sound to you when it's said back to you? I have a mother, an adult, that's living with me. I'm supporting, I'm taking care of. She's run my cards into the ditch. So my solution is to get a secret card she doesn't know, as opposed to holding her accountable for her immature, irrational behavior.
It sounds ridiculous.
And she says she has EDS, and one of the things is that the joints become extra pliable, right? I mean, and so she bends her finger back to show you that. Well, hell, I can bend my finger back.
Right.
Does that look like I have EDS? I don't. Are you going to let her completely drag you down?
No.
When would you want to stop?
I plan to stop as soon as possible. I've been working with my therapist to try and learn to be more assertive and not.
What's your therapist say about your mother?
She says pretty much the same thing. She is afraid that she's using me, and
She's afraid she's using you. Okay, well, I'm a little more outspoken than that. Your mother's using you. Now, coming up, Cheyenne's future mother-in-law wrote into the show because she calls Cindy the biggest mooch and emotional extortionist ever. We're going to meet Samantha next.
I have concerns for my son. Cindy is running a scam by faking her illnesses. I believe she should be in jail, and shame on her for doing it.
And later, we asked you for that diagnosis, and you didn't provide it.
I don't remember being asked for it. I really don't.
No, you were asked for it.
Oh, okay.
My mom uses a cane pretty often now. We need your walker today.
I don't think so.
I don't believe she needs the cane all the time. I do feel she is trying to find some sympathy by using the cane. A lot of it has to do with her wanting to keep me feeling like I need to take care of her and feeling sorry for her.
Cheyenne says her mom has really never worked a day in her life. Instead, she stays up till 4 or 5 in the morning watching televisions, buying things on your credit cards, sleeps until 11, and she really doesn't know how to take care of herself. But this is a grown woman with a working brain. Now, Cheyenne's boyfriend, Blake, says Cindy is a moocher, and his mom, Samantha, agrees, saying that Cindy puts just all millennials to shame with her entitled behavior. Take a look.
I think Cindy is definitely a moocher. Cindy's expectation is that she'll live with Cheyenne forever. No 24-year-old child should have to support their mother. I could not imagine putting that burden on my child where they felt they had to support me financially. Cindy is demanding, lazy, and manipulative. She does this whole emotional extortion kind of a thing. As a mother, I have concerns for my son. Cindy claims she has a lot of health issues. I don't really believe that. Essentially, Cindy is running a scam by faking her illnesses. What mother would ruin her daughter or her child's credit before she even had a chance to experience life? I believe she should be in jail, and shame on her for doing it. I believe Cheyenne wants out of this situation. She just doesn't know how to get out of it. Blake is ready to propose to Cheyenne, but until Cindy stops mooching, Blake will not propose.
Well, Samantha, thank you for being here. You've met Cindy, right?
No, never.
You've watched what she does.
I've heard.
You hear the reports, and you think that she's manipulative.
100%.
Mm-hmm. Do you agree with everything that's being said?
Yes, I do.
But tell me about the part of you that feels like, okay, we're up here bashing my mother, and that seems disloyal.
Mm-hmm. It does.
What are you thinking?
I am already starting to worry about how I'll be made to feel afterwards when my mom hears everything that we have to say.
How she'll manipulate you.
Yes.
Aren't you exhausted?
I am so exhausted that I don't find much enjoyment anymore in many things. Even when I go over to spend time with Blake, I end up sleeping most of the time because I have to, I feel that I have to stay up late with my mom, and then I have to get up early for class and now an internship. I've even failed a couple of classes, which is how I pay for our housing right now.
Here she is. She's on the couch, cane in place, covered up in a blanket, and you're waiting on her. Do you believe that's all this woman is capable of doing?
No.
When she does stand up to her mom, she gets the, she'll throw things at her. She'll say, don't you talk to me like that, I'm your mother. And she'll just go after her.
Why are you here? What are you prepared to do? Because I'm going to tell her she's conning you. What are you going to tell her?
I am prepared to confront her and tell her that I do believe that she's using me and I can't support that anymore.
She's going to have to shake it up. She's going to have to change things. Are you prepared to require her to grow up? She's functioning at an emotional age of about 11 or 12 years old.
Yes, I'm prepared.
Well, we're going to meet Cindy and we're going to find out what manipulations she attempted once she was here. We'll be right back.
I don't know what I'd do if Cheyenne kicked me out. I am not really able to take care of myself.
Thank you, sweetheart.
I have no money. I have no job. I have nowhere to go.
And later...
I can't do it anymore.
What are you so frustrated about?
I didn't know they felt this way.
How could you not know that this is how they feel? The bar is just a prop for life.
On a new podcast episode of Fill in the Blanks.
I don't think bars are there for food and beverages, Phil. I always believe they're there to create a reaction.
Author, entrepreneur, and bar rescue star John Taffer.
We're not in the television business. We're in the human reaction business.
You're doing therapy. You're doing life coaching. You're doing inspiration with these people. It's just damn good.
Fill in the Blanks. Available now on Apple Podcast and Stitcher.
I stay up really late. I used to watch a lot of shopping networks, and it became like an addiction. It made me feel better when things got worse. I do get some makeup once in a while. It was like Christmas every day when you'd get something in the mail, and trying to fill that void I have felt for a long time.
My mom was taking my money to shop on the home networks.
I have used my daughter's credit card. She was not aware of it. I knew I had taken it too far.
The debt that my mom has run up shopping on my account has ruined my credit. My mom has spent close to $10,000 of my own money.
I am very embarrassed. I am.
Well, Cindy worries what will happen without Cheyenne taking care of her because she prefers to stay in the dark all day with the curtains down and says she doesn't know how to work.
I do live with my 24-year-old daughter.
I can take something so you don't spill it.
Cheyenne pretty much helps take care of me physically as well as financially.
My muscles are in pain all the time.
I very much feel like I'm a burden on my daughter. At this moment, I don't see any other choice. I am not really able to take care of myself.
Thank you, sweetheart.
The fact that she helps take care of me as much as she does make me feel quite bad. I'm in this situation because I got a divorce 8 years ago, and it was messy and ugly, and I was naive. I've never had a job. I was a stay-at-home wife and mother. I couldn't hold down a job now. Physically, it would be very difficult to get to work and do all the things they require because most days a shower will wipe me out. Fatigue's one of the symptoms. I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I have not exactly been formally diagnosed with the disease. I do fit all the criteria, and the more I read about the EDS, the more I'm sure that's what it is. Cheyenne, as far as my recollection goes, has never asked me to move out and find another place. I don't know what I'd do if Cheyenne kicked me out. I have nowhere to go. I have no money. I have no job. I have no formal education. I am very scared.
Good.
I need you for balance. I am very dependent on Cheyenne right now.
Well, good morning.
Hi.
You say you're very dependent on Cheyenne.
For the moment, yeah.
Why?
I have no money, no car, and I do need some help around the house, quite a bit of help around the house. I want to get better.
That's why I'm here.
So what is the plan?
I need to find some doctors that specialize in the EDS.
Why do you need EDS doctors? You haven't been diagnosed with EDS.
Well, my general practitioner, I fit all the criteria. She said that I had EDS, but...
Well, no, actually, you haven't been diagnosed with EDS. You were told by a nurse practitioner that you had some commonality with some of the symptoms of EDS, but you haven't been diagnosed with it because we asked you for that diagnosis and you didn't provide it. You don't come here saying that you're debilitated by a crippling disease and fail to provide proof of diagnosis when asked for it if in fact you have it. That just doesn't happen.
I don't remember being asked for it. I really don't.
No, you were asked for it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
You're the one that said you hadn't been diagnosed officially. So have you been diagnosed by your GP or you haven't?
I have. She said you have Ehlers-Danlos, but I don't have like official paperwork.
Well, you felt dizzy this morning, right? Mm-hmm. And you had to have us call the nurse.
It feels better.
You say you feel badly about being so dependent on your daughter. Mm-hmm. Why do you feel bad about it?
Because I'm her mother. I should be able to help her out, not the other way around.
Leaning on you instead of the other way around. I also read a text exchange between the two of you. You should share with your boyfriend just how tired you were and how very sick I am and see if he could do the movie another night. Because anyone who really loves you, all caps, really loves you, would put your health and your loved ones first. So you were going to a movie?
Yes.
And you sent her a text and said, well, you should tell him to push this to another night because you're tired and I'm sick.
I have times when I can't do anything.
Do you think you're being manipulated? Do you think you're being leaned on too much?
I feel like I am being leaned on too much, yes, and manipulated.
And why do you feel that way?
I feel that way because I am, it's almost learned in me now to feel already guilty for just thinking about telling my mom that I can't do something or that I want to see if she can do it herself.
So you go into it feeling bad if you're going to require something of her?
Yes.
What is your plan if she just simply can't do everything for you that she's doing now?
I don't know.
Because that's where she's headed. Can you start to contribute? Can you start to pull your own weight? Can you do the things that any contributing member of society would do?
I can do a few things around the house more.
Well, you felt dizzy this morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had to have us call the nurse over to check you, right?
No, my back was hurting and I asked for a heating pad if they had one.
Right. And you've been in pain for 24 years, you said?
21 since Cherokee was born.
Well, Cindy says she wasn't feeling too well this morning, so let's take a look at what not feeling well, what that experience is for her.
The pain from my arthritis in my back and knees were starting to hurt really bad, so I asked for a hot pad to help ease it. And it feels better.
Just the getting up and moving around as much as you have has kind of aggravated the situation?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, coming up, Cindy has another daughter too. So why doesn't she expect her youngest Cherokee to chip in? We're going to meet and talk to her next. We'll be right back.
My sister has never had a childhood because she's been taking care of my mom. I think my mom is manipulating Cheyenne to feel as though she's this monster or this bad daughter.
Cheyenne's boyfriend, Blake, says Cindy is really using Cheyenne and ruining her future, ruining her credit, ruining everything about her. Now, Cindy's younger daughter, Cherokee, says that she knew early on to distance herself from her mother and has no intention of ever taking care of her. Take a look.
I think my mom should get a job. She's been dependent on someone her whole life. It was first her parents, and then her first husband, and then my dad, and then my aunt. So my mom is planning on and wants to live with my sister for the long haul. I don't think it's fair. My sister has never had a childhood because, you know, she's been taking care of my mom. I think my mom is manipulating Cheyenne to feel as though she's this monster or this bad daughter. And she has been guilt tripping her for years. She'll start to pull a card saying, you know, you're my daughter, you're supposed to take care of me, saying, I just want to go to sleep and never wake up, or I just want to curl up in a ball and die. My mom is a negative energy in the home for Cheyenne.
Well, thank you for joining us. You have a different dynamic with your mother than your sister does.
Yes.
Tell me why.
I stayed with my dad, so I grew up kind of with my dad going to high school, and then afterwards I decided I want to go to college outside of the state, and so I've just kind of been removed, you know, physically too, so.
Right. Do you think she's as sick as she says she is?
I do believe that she is in pain every day with her arthritis in her knees and everything. I feel as though that she is more sick mentally, and that's kind of making the physical pain worse.
So what are you going to do here? What do you want from your mother? Tell her what you want from her that you're not getting.
I would like help for myself by you helping yourself. Would like you to start figuring out where you can live on your own, separate from me. I can't do it anymore. I just like to be respected as my own person with my own life, and to be given the space to go ahead and pursue it.
What do you think about what she's saying?
I agree. I want her to have that. I do. I don't know where to turn.
If this is 100% of what you can do every day, you know, just a yardstick, we have to figure a yardstick, and that's 100% of everything you can do every day. How much of that do you think you're doing on a daily basis now?
Probably 20, 30%.
Okay. So you could do much more than you're doing.
Well, I don't know if... There's a lot more that could be done, yes. I don't have... It hurts.
Right.
I mean, it hurts a lot.
Okay. What are you so frustrated about?
I didn't know they felt this way.
How could you not? I mean, really, how could you not know that this is how they feel? Because whenever she pushes back, you get really upset with her, right? Have you thrown things at her? Have you yelled at her? Have you guilt-induced her? Have you done things that have really vented your frustration?
No.
You have threatened suicide. And I think that's horrible to say to a child.
I just want help.
You seem to me to be capable of doing a lot more than you're doing. And when I say that, you go, yeah, well, but I'm in pain. A lot of us are in pain every day. I mean, I know that you had a life before. I know you raised this girl, and they seem to me to have turned out pretty damn well, because most of what you did before you checked out. And you can check back in.
That's what I want.
You just don't know how.
Right.
Coming up, what really needs to happen here to turn this thing around.
I am very vulnerable right now. I've been thinking about it a lot the last few years. I think it's basically an abandonment issue. I am always afraid that the people I love the most are just gonna go away. Just gonna walk away. And I don't want to be afraid of that anymore.
Look, most of your life, you've been a very productive woman. You've contributed, you've been an active member of society, and somehow or another, your skill set became to be manipulative and dependent on others because it seemed like the line of least resistance, but it came at a very high price. Because your self-dignity is gone, your self-respect is gone, your self-reliance is gone, your goals are gone. I mean, you're just basically just living day to day, and you don't have much hope. And she's going to get married to him, and they're going to go off into the sunset, and they're going to be happy as clams. And they're not going to take you with them. So you got to figure out what you're going to do, right? And so you can say, well, oh, she's leaving me. Well, no, you prepared her to leave you.
Yeah.
You didn't prepare her to stick you. You prepared her to leave you. You prepared her to leave you. That's where they have the ego strength to do that. And your goal has got to be, I want to become self-reliant, self-sufficient, and self-sustaining. Self. Reliant, sufficient, and sustaining. Correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and it would be okay to mix some happy in there too. You know, I wanted to find some things that interest me, to do some things. Your life isn't over. I hate to tell you this, but you're not that old.
I know.
Which means you got a long time to sit around and be bored. So you might as well figure out what you're going to do with that time. Want to know what's coming up on Dr. Phil? Visit our website and subscribe to our email newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, life strategies, and exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else.
Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today.
Now, I don't know what's wrong with you. Unlike your GP, I have to do tests to figure that out. I can't just kind of look at you, bend your finger back and say, well, she's got this or that. I don't know until I actually find out what's wrong with you. And then I want to get you a life coach. A life coach that is going to work with you on a regular basis to make you a plan to begin to execute a strategy to get yourself back into your life. And I've arranged that through an organization called Cass Centers. It's run by my good friend and founder and CEO, Coach Mike Baer. You spent 48 years of your life with things working really, really well for you.
Yes, I did.
You're worried that your mother's going to be upset with you.
Yes, I am.
I don't think she is. Are you upset with her?
No.
You should be thrilled with her because she's creating a changing day in your life. Right? I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Cass Centers and Coach Mike Baer. For more information about today's show, you can log on to drphil.com. Now, one of my Facebook followers, Mary, asked, what's my biggest regret in life? Well, one thing's for sure. I have zero regrets about fulfilling my duties as a parent. I've always taken that serious. If there was one thing, and it really is pertinent to you, when we're young, we take our health for granted. Yeah. And when I was crashing motorcycles and running into people and stuff, that all seemed like, hey, you shake it off, but you pay for it later. So if I could undo a few of those things, I might. Stay social. Keep asking me questions on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You never know. I just might answer yours on the air. We'll see you next time.
Today on Dr. Phil, she spent over $100K and
has gone bankrupt from her online relationships.
Blatant scams.
He says, I'm scamming you. Please forgive me. Can you still send me some gift cards?
Multiple fiancés.
You meet Fred Adler on a dating site. 3 days later, you're engaged. But he disappears. 5 days later, you're engaged to Paul.
I thought Fred was deceased.
So now you're engaged to Paul and to Fred, who you thought was dead, who reappeared.
It's the strangest catfish story we've ever covered.
Lois drove an hour to meet a stranger at a hotel. She says she gave him $9,000 in cash in exchange for a suitcase. And what was inside the suitcase? Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. You know, over the past 18 seasons, I've done a lot of what we call catfish shows. That's where someone is defrauding someone, trying to get their money. They steal an identity, pretend to be that person, and then start getting money from people. When my guest today, Candace, emailed me, I thought, wow, this could be a first. Candace says she has been so determined to prove to her mom, Lois, that she's being scammed, that in the past, she herself created a fake identity to catfish her mom's alleged catfish. Now, Candace's aunt, Luann, says she has also tried to intervene, but despite her efforts, she says her older sister, Lois, ended her 37-year marriage and wiped out her entire retirement account for online love. Now, Lois says she's here today to get me to help her too, but for a reason that her daughter Candace and her younger sister Luann might be surprised to learn. Before we hear from Lois, here's what Candace and Luann have to say. Take a look at this.
My mom has become addicted to online romance scams.
My sister Lois and her husband were married 37 years. Recently, they divorced.
She had never been on social media, and at first I thought, oh, how cute, my mom's getting with the times. Boy, was I wrong. Over the past couple of years, it's just been one online scam after another. One of my mom's first loves was a general who was serving in Afghanistan. Apparently, the Afghanistan government was so grateful to the general for his service that they rewarded him with a suitcase full of gold, diamonds, and cash, in which he was going to send to my mother for safekeeping.
The general told my sister that he loved her and he wanted to marry her. My sister was opening credit cards so that she could send the general money.
I knew this was a total scam and I wanted to prove it to my mom. What I did was create a fake profile and I started to catfish the general himself. I spoke to the general for about 2 to 3 weeks and he's told my mother and I some of the exact same stories and some of the exact same pictures. At first my mom believed that the general was a fake, but within a few days she was back to falling for his lies. Then there was a gentleman by the name of Fred Adler.
Lois started taking payday loans so she could help Fred get out of Africa.
Sure enough, like clockwork, Fred ended up missing his plane and the government refused to buy him a ticket back, so he was on his own. I called Fred and I told Fred I would pay for his flight for the next day, and he told me he had business to still take care of, and then he hung up on me. Last I knew, Fred was wandering the streets aimlessly in New York because he could not find a Bank of America. As of a few weeks ago, my mom's most recent guy is a gentleman by the name of Paul.
Lois told me that he was in Africa collecting his uncle's inheritance. I said to my sister, and once again, this is a scam. She says no, she knows it's real.
At this point, she is completely destitute and has nothing left.
My sister has nothing to her name but a card table and a mattress.
I really hope that Dr. Phil can get through to my mother, because if not, I feel like this is our last chance.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I wish you'd come a long time ago, but she wouldn't.
Correct.
I mean, you tried, and she wouldn't do it.
Correct.
So I get that. And listen, I really want to get this done with her. And understand, I take no pleasure whatsoever in crushing somebody's dream and fantasy. This is, I hate that she's going to have to face this reality, because it's devastating, right?
Correct, yes.
You mourn the loss, even of a fictional lover, because it's real to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so she will face that loss, and then she will realize, oh my God, I've lost all of this money. And Candace, you say that she's lost $100,000.
Yes, I think it's somewhere around that range, maybe even more.
Yeah, it's a little more actually, I think, when we do the close math, but it's about $100,000.
Yes.
And a 37-year-old marriage to your father.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
So that's what I mean. When this hits her, obviously it's very difficult, and we have to be very compassionate about that. This is not funny. It's not a joke to me. It's something that I take seriously, because it's going to hurt her a lot, and I want to be. You're going to have to support her through this and take care of her. Now, you say she's not just getting catfish, she's addicted to this, because, I mean, I've looked through it, and there's like Fred Adler, Dr. Morris, Paul. Did the general have a name other than the general, or is his first name The and his last name General?
No, he actually catfished like a real retired Air Force general.
Yeah, but she just refers to him as the general.
Yes, that's what he requested she refer to him as.
As the general, okay. Is this a surprise to you that I mean, you grew up with her.
Yes.
You've known her longer than you, of course, because you grew up with her. Is it a surprise to you that she's this into this?
My sister has changed 100%. She's not the same person I grew up with. We was sheltered in our life, went to Christian school, very religious background, wore dresses, hair up. So this is not her.
So you were very sheltered and she wasn't savvy in computers and social media and all that.
Not at all.
And when she first got on Facebook, you kind of thought, well, this is cute.
Yeah. It happened like shortly after my daughter was born, and I thought it was
look
adorable.
at her.
Yeah.
She's hitting the buttons.
Right.
Okay.
She do the creepy little wave thing to me through Messenger.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, you made some efforts to disprove that the general was real. So in August of 18, you called New York Customs because her thing was he had luggage.
Correct.
And this luggage was full of diamonds and gold, right?
Yes.
And because everybody goes around with suitcases full of diamonds and gold.
Right.
And he just needed help getting it here. And when he got it here, then it was hers, right? They were going to live with this and be rich and go off into the sunset.
Right.
But he had to have money to get it.
Of course,
right?
yes.
Okay, so you decide to check on this. So you called New York Customs to find out about this luggage. There's no luggage there, of course.
Right.
And then September 18, you start catfishing the general.
Correct.
You make up a profile and you start flirting with him.
Yes, sir.
And emails him as Sarah Stevens. Now, Lois believes Candace just cloned the general's email and started saying things back so you could fake that he was interacting with you and didn't believe that he really was. So Candace stops talking to Lois for a few months because she thought you were just tricking her, right?
Yes, she thought it was either my father or I that was
felt
pretending.
betrayed.
Yes.
January 2019, you find and messages the real dad of the children whose photo was stolen, right?
Correct, yes.
So this general had stolen somebody's pictures and were using them as his own. You found the real guy.
Yes, he had sent me pictures of when I was Sarah Stevens, he had a son with me, and he sent me pictures of his son, but he also sent me pictures of his daughter. And I managed to see that there was like a JPEG attached to that, what the name was. I looked him up on Facebook, and I recognized the gentleman that was in the reflection in the mirror behind this little girl. And
Would you like a job?
I know. Oh, yes, yeah. And so I ended up, we actually three-way called him, and we spoke to him, and he was able to tell her.
Who three-way called him?
My mother and I three-way called the gentleman who had his family's pictures stolen. And
Okay, so the three of you, your mother, you, called the real person in the picture.
Correct.
That has had his identity stolen by this person that's telling her he's the general.
No, we called the gentleman whose children had their images stolen off of his Facebook. And so we'd let him know, like, you should probably set your stuff to private. Somebody's using your children's information to take advantage of women.
All right. And so your mother then confronts the general.
Yeah, I'm sure she did, yes.
Yeah. And says that he's lying. What happened?
Somehow this general made my mom believe that this gentleman somehow cloned all of these images off of his, I don't know. I don't know how my mom honestly makes sense of this in her head, because to me, it doesn't make sense, but somehow she, believes them every time.
Yeah, so he just conned her and said, that's all a lie, I'm the real guy.
Yes, that's correct.
And she believed it.
Yes.
We continued on and we found the real guy.
Okay.
We found the person in the picture. He is a major general. He doesn't want his picture used, which I completely understand.
I actually found out his wife's phone number, and I have texted his wife, and I've shared those texts with my mother. I also located his children's Instagram accounts and showed her pictures of him with his children on vacation while the guy she's talking to is supposedly in Afghanistan. So
he's starting to panic because he's losing his cash cow.
He obviously uses the same tactics on my mother. They make you feel guilty for even questioning them.
I confused now.
I confused too.
And later, they have people send them gift cards. So you've been sending gift cards.
That was to General.
$1,000, $1,000. I'm holding a lot of money here. you start to talk to the general yourself, right?
As myself?
Yeah.
No.
No, it's Sarah.
Oh, yes, it's Sarah. That's correct.
Okay, this is when you start to talk to him yourself. So, to Lois, good morning, my darling wife. Happy Sunday to you, honey. Sorry I missed chatting with you yesterday. How are you doing today? Then to Sarah, which is your alter ego.
Correct.
Honey, how are you today? May your day filled with lots of joy, love, happiness, and wonderful moments. Now, this is interesting that the picture is the same, that he sends to the both of you. Enjoy your day, happy Sunday, today is a gift from God. Enjoy your day, happy Sunday, today is a gift from God. Sends you both exactly the same thing.
Yes.
Did you show this to her?
Yeah, and not only did I show, after I'd been speaking to him for several weeks, I decided to finally confront my mom with the information because I thought there would be no way she could deny it. It was to the same email address she was emailing, the same picture. She ended up admitting to me, he told me his favorite meal was Salisbury steak. She said that he told her the same thing. And then also he had asked me to send money to his son. My mom had sent money to that same exact person, address, name, everything.
What'd she say?
I mean, when I confronted her with it, she always believes it. She looks like she's just devastated. She's gonna be sick to her stomach. She's just very emotional. But when I called her the next day, I told her she could not talk to him. She shouldn't, because he would just try to convince her that it was all fake. Well, sure enough, she talked to him the next day and she was like, I don't know. Maybe he's real, maybe he's not. And by the second day, she believes that he is who he says he is. And
Okay, so you, as Sarah, confront the general.
yes,
Okay, and here's what you said, as Sarah.
correct.
General, I got Lois's phone number and Catherine, fake daughter, wants me to call her. The general, I don't know what you mean. Who's Lois? Well, Sarah, this is very serious. The general, Sarah, you are saying things I don't know. Sarah, your email is, and we blurred it, just like your email is, blah, blah. General, I don't even know who that is. I'm confused now. Something is not right here. You haven't say anything that I know. What's your problem? So this guy, he's starting to panic now because he's losing his cash cow.
He obviously uses the same tactics on my mother. They make you feel guilty for even questioning them.
Yeah.
So yes.
I confused now.
I confused too.
Yeah, and he's supposedly from where?
He lives in Alaska. He has an orphanage with 89 children in it.
Yeah.
Promised her mansions and
Yeah, he has like a 32-bedroom home mansion, 18 baths, 16 kitchens
about
in Alaska.
Yeah. Big, 16 kitchens?
16 kitchens.
16
I said, does he live in an apartment complex?
Yeah. He's just a big eater.
Yeah. Yes, apparently. Well, you got to have a place for all those orphans to go and hang out. So.
Well, Lois came to LA for one reason, and for one reason only. You're going to find out why when we meet her, and it is not what you think. We'll be right back.
About 2 weeks ago, I met a wonderful man named Paul Shaw. Paul is currently in Nigeria taking care of his uncle's estate. He's trying to get his settlement right now. It was over $2.5 million. At the moment, Paul needs $2,300 so he can get home. Paul and I are engaged, and I feel like I'm not being scammed by him. He has been honestly truthful to me.
And later,
he has $800,000 a month and that you've given away all of your money. I feel like if somebody truly loved you, the last thing they would do is put you in that kind of a situation. I would say that my mother is very gullible and naive.
We grew up in a very conservative Christian household. We lived a very sheltered life.
Within a matter of days of meeting a new man online, she shares her entire life story, including photos and her address and her phone number. I've told my mom at least 100 times that she's not only putting herself in danger, but her family.
I'm afraid something bad will happen to her.
I feel like I am the mother, and she acts like a teenager who knows nothing about the world and the way it works, but yet she thinks she knows it all.
Lois' sister Luann and her daughter Candace say they are 100% convinced that Lois is being scammed by various men she meets online. Now, Candace says even though she has proven some of the men as fakes, her mother just says, well, I don't believe it, and continues to communicate with them. It's something called confirmation bias. When you're in confirmation bias, you're only seeking out information that supports one's belief while ignoring evidence that contradicts. And in fact, when you get contradictory information, it just deepens your belief even more. They just hunker down and hang on even tighter because they're under attack. Now, Lois admits that she has gone bankrupt from her online relationships, but is currently engaged, thankfully, to a good, honest man.
One of the first people that I met was the general. I fell in love with him. He served in the military and he needed help getting his luggage back to the United States. The luggage is filled with gold, money, and jewelry, and he's still trying to get it here to me. I paid approximately $70,000 to get his luggage. I am still trying to get the luggage. The delivery driver wants $2,500 to deliver the luggage. About 5 months ago, I met Fred Adler. Fred is an honest guy that I felt like would have made me a good soulmate. His son goes to school in Australia and his wife passed away. Fred finally made it to New York. I would call and I would text and I never got a response from Fred. I thought that Fred died on the streets of New York City. My nickname was Strawberry. Sorry. I named him Chocolate. I'm sorry I saved his life. I felt like from Africa. About 2 weeks ago, I met a wonderful man named Paul Shaw. Paul is a clean-cut guy, and I feel like he is a very honest man. Paul is exactly what I'm looking for. Paul has a daughter named Angela. She's 24 years old, and she does go to a university in Scotland. Paul is currently in Nigeria taking care of his uncle's estate. He's trying to get his settlement right now. It was over $2.5 million. At the moment, Paul needs $2,300 so he can get home. I love Paul. Paul and I are engaged, and as soon as he gets back, we're planning on getting married and buying a house together. When it comes to my fiancé, Paul, I feel like I'm not being scammed by him. He has been honestly truthful to me. My daughter, Candace, and my sister are upset. Every time I talk to somebody online, they think it's a scam. I feel like they need to stay out of my business, really. I would love it if Dr. Phil would bring Paul home to me. Yes, I would. I'd had nothing but bad luck. Everybody else I haven't seen yet.
Well, it's good to meet you.
Glad to meet you too also. I'm here to prove to them, my daughter and my sister, that they need to accept that I have not been scammed.
Okay.
And then I have a true relationship in my life now, I feel like.
And it's with who?
With Paul.
Okay. Why is he different from the others? Like you had a relationship with Dr. Morris, and he even confessed that he scammed you.
Yes, he did. I thought he was a white guy I had met on Facebook, and he ended up to be a black guy. And
Okay,
he admitted it to me.
But he told you he did, right?
Yes, he did.
He said, I'm scamming you.
Yes, he did.
So he said, look, I'm scamming you.
He told
And don't send any money to Fred either, because Fred's scamming you too.
I had rescued Fred from Africa. That's what I really need help with, because he didn't make his flight.
And he needs her to send him more money. Surprise!
You're engaged now.
With Paul, yes. Yes, I'm engaged with Paul.
Mm-hmm. Did Dr. Morris say anything to you about Paul?
No, I've never told him about Paul.
Did he talk to you about Fred?
I have talked to him about Fred, yes.
What did he say to you about Fred?
Well, he He was supposed to see me in December, and he didn't show up. And finally, then he finally admitted that he was scamming me. So I no longer.
Who admitted that?
The guy that pretended to be Dr. Morse.
Okay, but didn't he also tell you you're also getting scammed by somebody else?
Yes, he told me not to send money to Fred. Yes, he told me I was getting scammed by Fred. But
okay, so he said, look, I'm scamming you.
And he told
And don't
me,
send any money to Fred either. Because
Right.
Fred's scamming you too.
Yes, he told me that too.
So how did he even know about him?
I had mentioned to him about Fred, but Fred is an honest man. I still believe that too. Yeah, but I do need help with Fred.
Okay, well, here's the exchange with Dr. Morris. He apologizes to you. He says, I'm so sorry to hurt you, okay? Find a place in your heart to forgive me. And you say, yes, I will. Have you ever been married? You say, he says, I'm scamming you. Please forgive me. And you say, okay, have you ever been married? And he says, no, just go. You don't deserve me. And you say, you are a good person. There is someone out there for you. Bye. Thanks for being honest. And Morris says, but take my words. If Fred asks you for money, don't send him, okay? He's a scam too.
Right.
And you say, okay, best of luck in finding you a sweetheart. Bye. Dr. Morris, can you do me one favor? Can you get me the gift card?
Yeah, I know.
He says he's scamming you, and you say, no, Dr. Morris. Please help out. And Lois, you say, well, that is okay. I have a fiance. I'm going to get married soon. This is a guy that he says, look, I'm scamming you. Can you still send me some gift cards?
Well, I didn't send him anymore. No, I haven't. Not after I realized that he admitted who he was. No, I haven't.
And he told you this other guy's a scammer too. Do you know why he said that? Because he's probably sitting 3 cubicles down in a workroom in Nigeria.
Oh, were you talking about Fred? No, Fred is actually I had rescued Fred from Africa. And that's what I really need help with, because he didn't make his flight come in Monday.
And he needs her to send him more money.
Yes.
Surprise.
He needs money for a cab.
He had, the deal with him is that he was counting on me to get him to the airport, and he missed his flight.
Okay. You're in the United States, the middle of the United States. He's in Africa.
Right.
And he's counting on you to get him to the airport. Who's going to button up his shirt? Wait, what the hell?
I don't know.
I mean, commonsensically, does that make sense to you? Here's a guy that's in Africa, and he's so incompetent that he needs some lady in the middle of the United States to get him to the airport in Africa.
Right. I don't know. I feel sorry for him. I still feel bad about him, because I know he nearly lost his life over there the first time.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. Here's what he said. This is he said, Fred talking to you. He says, I told you to send me $200. If I miss my flight, you're going to be to blame. You said, you broke me before. I'm not obligated to help you. You need to think things out. Fred, it's your stubbornness that is causing this issue. Lois, I can't believe you would miss your flight because it is so expensive. Fred, it's your fault. Lois, so what are you going to do? Fred, well, I'm blaming you for everything. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to blame you for everything.
Right, he did.
I
That's
just don't
what
understand
happened
how
Monday.
like a good, honest person blames you for their stuff. Can I also just add that he was stuck in Africa in September? My mom called everybody she knew begging for like $5,000 to get him back, including my mother-in-law, and said that he would pay her back double, because of course these guys always promise to pay you back double every single time. And then somehow, all of a sudden, like last week he calls you and he tells you he's coming back to Oklahoma and he'll be flying in on Monday. As soon as I heard that, I knew something's gonna happen. He's gonna need money. I wasn't surprised Monday when you were upset. I knew he had called you and told you something happened at the airport. How is it that this guy has $800,000 in a bank account that he finally got to, obviously somehow, to get back to Africa from New York City, but yet he needs you to send him $200? He has $800,000, Mom. He knows what your situation is and that you've given away all of your money, every bit of it, but yet he still needs money from you. I feel like if somebody truly loved you, the last thing they would do is put you in that kind of a situation.
That's right.
I felt bad asking a friend of mine that has been a client for 7 years to borrow their luggage to get here, let alone asking somebody that, I mean, somebody for such substantial amounts of money. That's insanity.
You know, I'd like to get Fred home so I can get my money back that he's promised me.
But they always promise you. The general
I know.
promised you
I feel
too.
like Fred is an honest person.
But why do you feel
hang
that
on.
way? I'm sorry.
You came here for me to talk to her,
I know,
right?
I'm sorry, I'm so
So
sorry.
if you want to talk to her, I'll just go back across the street.
Okay. All right, I
I
apologize.
mean, well, you've already done this, right?
Yes, on many occasions. I'm sorry, it's just very frustrating.
No, well, it's okay. But if you want to do this, you don't need me for this.
Okay, fair.
You meet Fred Adler on a dating site on August 28th. 3 days later, you're engaged.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm really lonely.
I'm curious. Fred Adler, Dr. Morris, Paul, I mean, I could just go down the list. Not one of them has ever shown up. Now, come on, but before you talk, let's just be commonsensical, okay? Just don't, I'm not asking you to agree to anything. I'm just commonsensical. Does it cause you concern that you keep getting in relationships that ask for money and never show up?
Yes.
When you look at just those facts, forget everything else, forget being in love, forget Africa, forget everything, just if all you know is you talk to somebody online and almost immediately they ask for money so they can get to you and never show up. If that's all you know, does that cause you concern? If a friend was telling you that?
Well, I feel like Fred will show up.
No,
and I know
that's not what I ask you.
Okay.
Now, listen, you have to at least play my game. Right. You have to at least you have to play a logic gymnastic with me here. If all you know is that someone has met 4 or 5 people and every one of them asks for money almost immediately in order to come to you, and none of them ever showed up, does that cause you concern?
Yes, it does. But I feel like I'm going to have someone show up for me soon.
Okay, but that's a run-on sentence. I'm just asking you, because you have to be your own best friend here. Right. If you had a best friend that would say, I've sent 5 people money to come be with me. Number 1 didn't show up, number 2 didn't show up, number 3 didn't show up, number 4 didn't show up, number 5 didn't show up. I've run through $100,000, but I think number 6 is going to show up. What would you say to her?
I don't know. Honestly, I think I got hope with Paul.
You're not, listen, you're not being logical with me. I'm not asking you about you. I'm asking you what you would say to a friend.
What would I say to a friend?
If all you knew was she had met 5 people, they all asked for money right away so they could get to her, and not one of them showed up.
I probably would tell them to be more cautious about who they meet online.
And let's see how cautious you've been. Because let's take this down for a second. Let's look at the timeline here. You joined Facebook in March of 18. Then June of 18, you meet the general through Facebook. Then March of 19, your husband files for divorce. It's finalized in June. And then you meet Fred Adler on a dating site on August 28th, right?
Yes, around there.
Okay. 3 days later, you're engaged. 3 days later, you're engaged.
Right. I don't know what to tell you. I really want somebody promising me my life. I'm really lonely.
Okay, 3 days later, but let's just stick with this. 3 days later, you're engaged. Okay. Then 6 weeks later, he disappears. So you meet Dr. Morris on the next day after he disappears. You were engaged to him, and he disappears on the 22nd, and on the 23rd, you just switch to Morris.
Right.
He's gone, you were engaged, but he disappears, so you switch to Morris.
Well,
okay?
I thought Fred was deceased, actually.
Well, you mourned him for what, 12 hours?
No.
So now you're engaged to Paul and to Fred, who you thought was dead, who reappeared. So now you're engaged to Fred and Paul? Then, October 28th, you post that Dr. Morris is your fiance. That's 5 days. You met him the day after the other one disappears, and 5 days later, you're engaged to this guy. You met the other one for 3 days and engaged to him, then he disappears, you know this guy 5 days, and you're engaged to him. Because you thought the other guy was dead.
Right.
But then he comes back from the dead. He reappears.
Right.
But now you're engaged to him.
Yeah, he was a fake. Dr. Morris was a fake.
Okay, but you were engaged to him. Now, does that tell you that, hey, maybe I'm not being diligent enough because I was engaged to this guy after 5 days and he was a phony? So maybe my due diligence is lacking. But this guy that you knew for 3 days before you were engaged to him reappears, but then a month later he disappears again. Okay? Then you date a man from church, a real man, somebody you can touch.
Right.
Okay? But that lasts just a week.
Yes.
And so that falls apart.
Right.
Okay? Then January 5th, you meet Paul.
Right. Yes.
5 days later, you're engaged to Paul. 5 days. 3 days, you were engaged. 5 days, you were engaged. Now another 5 days, you're engaged again. Then Fred reappears. This is like whack-a-mole. He just keeps popping up. He's gone, he's back, he's gone, he's back, he's gone, he's back. But now Dr. Morris admits to scamming you. So you've been engaged 3 times. 3 days you knew somebody, 5 days you knew somebody, 5 days you know somebody. Then this guy admits he's scamming you. Then this guy appears and you've been engaged to him. So now you're engaged to Paul and to Fred, who you thought was dead, who reappeared. So now you're engaged to Fred and Paul?
No, no, I dropped Fred, but he knows that. But I would like to have him come back over here so I can get my money from him.
So you get your money back?
Yes.
How much did you give him?
It was probably, I'm guessing maybe close to $7,000, but he said he'd pay me $8,000.
The general was $96,900. And one of the things that these scammers do to avoid some of the laws and some of the problems is they have people now send them gift cards. And so you've been sending gift cards, right?
That was to general.
Yeah, $1,000, $1,000, $100, $100. I mean, I'm holding a lot of money here. This right here is between $4,000 and $5,000.
I'm guessing. I don't know. I've never added them up.
It's $4,300 exactly.
Oh, really?
and you've yet to meet a single person in person. Candace says just last March, her mom Lois drove an hour to meet a stranger at a hotel. She says she gave him $9,000 in cash in exchange for a suitcase. We're going to find out exactly what that was because it's a little fuzzy, right? We'll be right back. Well, we're out of time today, but it's pretty clear that I have a lot more investigating to do. Trust me, you don't want to miss tomorrow's episode when we finally open Lois's safe. Also, we found this man, the man in this photo of Fred Adler. Now find out what he tells Lois when they meet face to face as we continue to uncover the truth behind Lois's online relationships.
Next time, she met a stranger in a hotel room
to exchange $9,000 in cash for a suitcase
filled with diamonds and gold from her online lover.
But instead, he brought me white cash.
So these are $100 bills that have been treated in some way, right?
Yes, you have to put a solution to take them $100 bills.
Was she scammed?
You take this and dunk it in there.
Again? That's next time.
I'd like to thank all of my guests today. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. We'll see you next time.